with the Ron and Fez show. Ron Bennington, Fez Watley with you. Get ready to wrap this one up on 106.7 WJFK and live 105.7. Ronnie, they had that Northwest Airlines flight that landed at Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota instead of going to the Rapid City, South Dakota airport.
No, what happened?
The Northwest Airlines flight landed at the wrong place. They landed at an Air Force base instead of the airport in South Dakota.
Wow.
Then they're sitting there. They got everyone sitting on the ground, and some guy said he was looking out his window shade, and he sees barracks and jeeps and has no idea where he's at.
He thinks he's in Cuba.
So then they come over the loudspeaker, the PA, and tell everyone, shut those window shades. Tell everyone, no looking out the windows. And the stewardesses are telling everyone to put their shades down.
And did they just take back off?
They took back off with another crew. Somehow they got another crew on board.
How can there be another crew? Where would the crew come from?
I don't think they were that far off from the original airport. I don't know how long they had to sit. But they said another Northwest Airlines crew flew them, I guess, for the short hop over to Rapid City.
I mean, how short? 5 miles? How are you going to take off in a big jet and just land again? I mean, was it 10 miles? Was it an hour away?
You know what? I don't know if they used the same plane, but they said all I heard was short hop. Like maybe going from Miami to Lauderdale or something like that.
They just had no trust in this crew anymore?
Or maybe the crew was in trouble and was being questioned on why you're landing at an Air Force base.
Yeah, I mean, that's my point. I mean, my point is that all of a sudden the airline goes, we can't let these people take off with innocent people again because they don't even know where the hell they're going. I can't imagine. I'd say, let me off this damn plane. I'll find my own way home from here. You went and landed at the wrong airport. Now, in their defense, it must look all the same from in the sky. Because I know for some reason, you're always flying over airports when you're in a plane. You ever notice that? You're always like, if you fly across the country, it seems like every time I look out the window, I'm looking down at another airport.
Anything that really scares me is being up in the air, and no matter how far away in the distance it is seeing another plane out there.
Yeah.
I figure if I can see it, then it's too close, like those trucker mirrors.
Well, isn't the deal 5 miles? No plane can come within 5 miles of each other?
I'm not sure what the exact distance is.
Here's the weird thing. I mean, you worry about that. Go to an airport, sit at the end of the runway on one day, see how one plane is taken off on that runway, why the next one is landing. And that's probably as close as the two planes ever get in the air.
I remember flying into O'Hare one time, and there was just, looking out the window, there was planes coming in from every direction. I don't know how many runways they had, but it looked like everybody was going to try and land at once.
I always thought that you could only come in from one direction, like they had a takeoff direction and a landing direction. I never thought that they were allowed to kind of come face-to-face on different runways.
Well, that's what I always thought, but I know, like, we were going one direction, and I saw someone kind of, like, coming in diagonal, like we were going to land in the same spot, but, you know, we were coming in from different angles on it. Like, we were going towards the same runway, but they were just coming in from a different direction.
Wow, I had no idea. 866-277-4969. So you're saying you were coming in, like, from the north, they were in the south, and you both get in the same line?
More like kind of like from the south and, let's say, the west. You know, just for, like, almost like that. Like we were going to end up side by side eventually.
Yeah, but probably more likely in a line.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they would just let two planes come in side by side like it was a motorcycle gang.
It doesn't take much to freak me out on a plane.
But, you know, when you're looking at an airport, you can't tell what airport you're at. When you're landing somewhere, if they literally, that's what they'll go, oh, yeah, you're in Chicago. I know it looks just like Philadelphia, Washington, Baltimore, L.A. They all look the damn same. You never know which way you're going. All right, 866-277-4969. So these guys are never probably going to get the opportunity to fly again.
I would hope not.
It's a mistake. You've made mistakes at work.
I know, but my mistakes doesn't, bring a plane into the wrong place.
Here is Matt. Matt, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, buddy.
I just wanted to say, 5 miles, it doesn't really bother me if two planes come within 5 miles of each other. It wouldn't even bother me if they were 1 mile apart from one another. But if two planes are so close that one guy can lean out of the window and say, Pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? Ball?
That would bother you. I understand. I think it's a 5-mile thing, but I'm not positive about it. And I know every time you fly now, you're always saying, for some reason, I hate to see a plane down below me when I'm flying, because that gives it a real World War II feeling about it, like we're going to dive bomb on each other. Here's Dylan. Dylan, you're on Ron and Fez.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, buddy.
Just wanted to let you know about the planes landing in the same direction. They can have parallel runways, or runways can intersect, and they always take off and land into the wind. So they can be coming at an angle so it would look like you two. It might hit when you're on the ground, but the runways will typically stop, or they'll make them stop before they cross the next runway. And in regards to those guys landing at the wrong airport, it happens more often than you think.
Why would it happen?
I don't want to think.
Yeah, well, typically they'll fly in on an instrument approach, but sometimes when they're flying, if the weather's good, they'll request a visual approach, and they'll spot the wrong runway, just like you said. They're looking out the window, and they think they're going to one place, and they're not. They don't bother to check their instruments, and then they land at the wrong place. It happens.
All right, thank you very much. Now, Mikey D says that they're now blaming the air traffic controller, saying that he was the one who brought him into the wrong place. Because, you know, those air traffic controllers, even though they have them in the tower, they're not looking at the windows.
So it would be the air traffic controller at the airport, not the Air Force Base.
Yeah. Well, you know, like some places, if you go to a smaller airport, I think I remember this from like West Palm, they use the Miami air traffic controller. They don't have their own guy on site.
Yeah, I was surprised that Rapid City had an airport.
Every place has an airport. I don't care where you're going. If it's on a map, they normally have an airport now. Here's John. I'm not saying they land all the big planes, but sometimes, like when you lived in Daytona, a huge plane would just take off in the morning. That's all they would have all day. John, you're on Ron and Fez. Hey, John.
Yeah. Hey, guys. It can definitely happen. You know, it's something that we try to avoid with our instrumentation, and like you said earlier, backing it up. But you can get taken down a little bunny trail by air traffic control. They're pointing out where the runway should be. You're breaking out of the clouds. You see an airport there. It usually happens in a city that has an airport or an Air Force Base or something like that close to a municipal airport. So, and sometimes with runways that are aligned in the same direction. So you break out of the clouds and you see this runway about where the air traffic controller told you it was, and it's a busy time, and you want to configure the aircraft, get it on the ground. It can happen.
All right, so you think these pilots are going to be grounded now?
Oh, I'm sure they will. They'll go through retraining, and you know, it's one of those things that when we see that happen to another crew, we always, you know, count our blessings that we haven't been kind of jammed into that corner ourselves.
I understand. It's like your version of somebody using the F word on the air, and you're like, hey, that could happen at any time. All right, John, thanks, buddy.
Hey, thanks. Hey, listen, I used to listen to you guys in Orlando. Haven't heard you in a while, and I happen to be in Baltimore tonight, and just heard you.
Thank you, John. Talk to you later,
buddy. Good work.
See you, my friend.
Take care, John.
Fly safe. Here's Brian. Brian, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi.
Hey, Brian.
The guys in the tower at the airport, they don't have anything to do with the plane once it takes off the ground. They really just move them around the taxiways, and once you're airborne, then you go to...
What about landing?
What about landing?
Yeah.
Well, right until they're just like right above the runways, they're with the center and air route traffic control center, where a whole bunch of people, like that movie Pushing Tin, sit in the office and look at the dots, and they're usually like, you know, 60 miles away or something like that.
Did you ever see that movie Pushing Tin, Fez?
No.
You probably don't want to. You probably won't be comfortable with that one.
Just because it's John Cusack, or worse?
Worse. When you see how complicated that job is, the air traffic controller job, I was watching a little bit, and the fact that you have to, it's like, imagine a video game where, like, if you really did make a mistake, you would die, or somebody would die. I mean, you've played a lot of video games, and you know occasionally two of the dots are going to pound into each other, no matter how good you are at that game.
Well, it's got to be like if you're playing a video game, you're not one guy, you're 50,000 guys.
Yeah, and they also decide, hey, I'm going to show you who's the best. I'm going to show you who can get more things in here. That's just their personality. Like any job, everybody likes to be the hot man on campus. And so that they're always trying to run little things of, look how many planes I can land, while you're only landing that many. And they're not really thinking of the dots as being actual big metal tubes full of humans.
We're the dots. We're real. The dots are alive. They should be told that every day.
All right, Fez, you might want to know this if you're ever in a plane crash. I just read this today. And the seat is open next to you. You got to yank the cushions out. Put one cushion in front of your legs, the other one in front of your head. Then the other thing you want to do is use your arm to wrap it around the back of your neck to make a neck brace for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Kind of get yourself down in that fetal, like they said, but protect the neck, protect the head with something in front of you. Like a cushion if you have it. Maybe you should start traveling with a cushion.
I wouldn't mind doing that. Yeah, because they say, in a plane crash or something, people get that extreme whiplash that snaps their necks.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever walked out of a plane crash anyway, but we were just talking about it the other day when I was telling you, who do you care is on that stupid exit thing. Nobody's getting out. If the plane crashes, it's bad news for everybody.
With this Northwest flight that went to the wrong airport, now the short little hop that they talked about going back over to Rapid City, that would be a worse flight for me than whatever it took, whatever the flight was, to get to the Air Force Base in the first place.
Because now you're on the death flight.
Now I'm on the death flight because I prepared myself for one takeoff, one landing. And that's all I'm prepared for. If I have to take off and land again, then it's just borrowed time. It shouldn't be happening. I'm not prepared for it. I haven't done any of my things to prepare for it. That would be, even if it was like a 10-minute flight, that would be 10 minutes of hell for me because it's completely taken me out of my flying game.
I didn't know you had a game. I didn't know
I have a game.
Yeah. Well, what about the fact that you're not really flying anyway? Somebody else is, so it doesn't matter what your game is or what your preparation. Whether that's a safe flight or not has nothing to do with you. You're a passenger.
I feel like we're all in it together.
Yes, you're in the back where you're not making any decisions. Luckily for the planet Earth, Fez isn't there. Have you ever wanted to get in the cockpit and just say, how would I fly one of these bad bears?
No, I've never wanted to do that. I always I've visited the cockpit before where I asked them, about their safety procedures. And I always go, how do you know that another plane's not too close to us? I don't say run into us. But I try to keep it positive.
Did they give you those little wings, Fat Bam Boy?
I've gotten wings before.
Yeah.
They don't pin anymore. Now they're just adhesive. And you lose them halfway through the flight because they're going to pop off your shirt.
Yeah. Oh.
It's not like the good old days.
Yeah, sure. You flew with the Wright brothers. That must have been exciting.
I am not that old.
Orville took you up. You had a bad flight. You crashed into a cornfield, and you've been nervous ever since.
There wasn't room for me and Orville to be in the cockpit.
You were both laying on your stomachs. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We're up in the air. All right, Fezzy, that's it for us. We're going to big shows this week. We're giving out Van Halen tickets. Also, the exciting news, thanks to ADF, this is the end of the Short Porch on Monday nights. Monday nights will begin at 7 with the fastest hour in radio, just like any other night of the week. That is starting next Monday. Like you said, with the Van Halen tickets, more this week, more tomorrow, and Wednesday to see Van Halen at the MCI Center on Friday night, June 25th, this coming Friday. You can't ask for more for that. You know what I'm saying, Fezzi? It makes everything worthwhile. We may be talking with some guests this week. That documentary, perhaps? Yes, the people who did Control Room. Yeah. We might be speaking with them. All right, very nice. I just sent them the link on that the other day. I want to see that movie, I think. I hope it doesn't turn me into a terrorist like they're worried with the Michael Moore. But I'm more and more interested in seeing how the news media presents what's going on in this country compared to what the rest of the world thinks of us. I think it's something Americans should be asking themselves more and more, what the rest of the world thinks of us. All right, Fezzi, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, we're all back in here.
We'll start it off with the fastest hour, then we'll be here till 11. Coming up next, it's The Hideout with El Jefe and J-Dubs on 106.7 WJFK-FM and Tom Likas for Live 105.7. We're Ron and Fez.